guys. So I'm doing my first like full January reading wrap up. Um I read 13 books this month and I read 4,853 pages. And I have all of these are the physical books that I have read this month plus 4 Kindle books. So I wanted to talk about them, tell you my star ratings, and just recommend some books if you are interested in reading anything that I'm showing you. So the first book I read of January was A Lick of Flame. It's the second book in the Lost Kings series by Charlene Hartnady. This one I did kind of have a hard time with. I gave it 3 stars. It only got like smutty towards the very end, and then it just kind of got really descriptive. And it's about a girl that found a dragon egg in a cave, and when she touched it, the egg hatched, and the dragon inside like bonds to her. And this Fae guy, he finds out he's Fae, which, mind you, this is supposed to be like a Snow White retell. The second book I read is A Shard of Ice, which is the third of the Lost Kings series by Charlene Hartnady. I'm caught up to that one as of now. Bolt of Magic is not out yet. So I read A Shard of Ice. I gave that one also 3 stars. I didn't like the fact that the main guy, Damon, and Kyrie, they kind of annoyed me. Both of them did. Because Damon, mind you, they're in a desert. They're digging for salt. Like, he thinks he's a human. Kyrie's his friend. Like, he's always been in love with her. And he turns into a Fae. And he takes her with him. And she's just, you've been lying to me. But the thing is, he didn't know who he was. So that kind of irritated me that she just kept saying that. So, like, their relationship, too, was kind of bothering me. But it's the action and everything that has me hooked, and how they're trying to get back at Snow and everything. That's what's keeping me in this series. But I just didn't feel like they don't actually open up to one another. They just fall in love, or they're just want to have sex with each other. But it is a better book than the second one technically. But I just hope they get better from here. The next book I read is Icebound, which is the first in the Boundless Players. I'm thinking it's going to be a trilogy. I don't know. By Meredith Trapp. I've never read anything from her before, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. I really liked this one. I loved all the banter between Nina and Rode. Rode is a professional hockey player, but he's kind of getting to where he needs to retire. He's a goalie. He's having a harder time to recover than everybody else. All the younger kids on the team, and he's the captain. And Nina, she's only like 22, and their meet is just so funny, and it's banter. She tells him a joke and he takes her seriously, and it's like, dude, no, like, she's kidding, she's being sarcastic, but he doesn't really understand when people are trying to be sarcastic to him. So that, it was funny. And then once the smut got involved, it got involved, and it is like intense, and I really did like it. There was a very good depiction of like anxiety. Nina has really bad anxiety. She has full panic attacks, and it's written on the page, and like you're with her and you could feel it, and it's just, oh, it was so good. And they try so hard to be away from each other, and they just are so drawn to each other that it's so hard for them to not be with one another, and I really did like that. The fourth book I read is Homebound. It's the second one about the Boundless Players by Meredith Trapp. The third one isn't out yet. I don't even know who it's really going to be about. I'm thinking I know who it's going to be about, but we'll see. So this one is about Dakota and Wyatt, and this one I gave 3.5 stars. I didn't like it as much as Icebound, only because I think because they were such good friends when they were younger, and he's always been in love with her, and she's never noticed. I don't know how she's never noticed. He's like doing everything for her, and she has never noticed. I don't get it, but whatever. But he comes and he's like, no, I'm on a mission. He has a daughter. I'm on a mission. I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her. Well, they end up living together because of reasons. And it makes sense. It's not like a weird thing. They move in together, and she's a bull rider, and he's a hockey player on the same team as Rode from the first book. And yeah, it's her trying to, like, everybody's telling her, and she's not seeing it, and it's just like, how can you be so dumb? Like, come on. Like, he's doing everything for you. He's protective of you. He believes so much in you, like, all this. So once it switched from friends to not friends, wow, it got spicy. But it just felt like towards the end, that's all they were doing. They weren't actually communicating. And I was like, okay, I know you guys have been friends forever, but, like, you guys gotta talk about being friends, and then all of a sudden now you guys are sleeping together. Are you more than friends? Like, what's going on here? So that was what I didn't like, and the ending was kind of like, meh, whatever. But the third one, who I think it's going to be, that one's really going to be interesting. Fifth book I've read is Bloodlines, the first book of the Bloodlines series by Rochelle Mead. I gave this one 3.75 stars. I forgot, because this is a reread for me. I mean, I read this in, like, high school, but I did forget that this one doesn't really have any romance in it. It's just, like, because she is an alchemist, he is a vampire, which, it's a whole thing. They're not called vampires, but he's a vampire, but he's not a full vampire. It's hard to explain. I do have a reading vlog of it, and I'll try to link it down below. But I really was waiting for them to get together, and they don't in this book. But it's about her, and she has to go to a school to protect another vampire named Jill, because people are after her, and so she needs to keep her hidden. And so she goes to the school, and she's with her, and, like, if anything happens, she's the one that has to deal with it. She has to fix it, and all this other stuff starts happening, and she fixes everything. She is so organized. She's so good at this job, and they take advantage. All of them, they're not grateful, and they just like, oh, she'll fix it. So it was kind of annoying, but all in all, it was a good book, and I would recommend reading it. Then the next one I read is The Golden Lily, which is the second book of the series by Rochelle Mead. This one I did like a little bit more than the first one. I gave this one 4 stars. And also at the end, that's when, I think this is the one where they finally kiss. Yes, because Sydney gets a boyfriend named Brayden, and Adrian just does not like him, and he makes it known at the end of this one that he likes her, and she doesn't know what to do with that, because she's supposed to be afraid of vampires, and yet she's starting to get feelings for him. She's starting to really trust all the others, and she doesn't understand why they're supposed to be so scared anymore, so she's starting to question the alchemists at this point. But this one had a lot more romances. It had almost like a love triangle thing going on. This one's also in a vlog. I think it's with the Bloodlines one. I'll link all of the vlogs that pertain to all of these books. But yeah, this one was good. I mean, I recommend the whole series, but this one was better than the first one. The next one I read was The Indigo Spell, which is the third book of the series by Rochelle Mead. This one was my favorite of the series. The whole series, my favorite. I gave it 4.5 stars. And this one, like, her and Adrian are trying to be together. And there's this guy right here. His name is Marcus. And he was an alchemist. And he isn't anymore, but the alchemists are after him because they don't like that he's helping other alchemists break away from the alchemists. And Adrian just tries so hard to be with Sydney, and Sydney's trying so hard to be with him, but she's trying to figure out how to do it right without being caught. So this one was very good. I did really like it. But now in this one, I think it's in the second one or the first one, she is starting to dabble in like magic. And this one, I don't know how she's gonna hide. I didn't know how she was gonna hide it because her sister is now joining her. And I don't know how she's gonna hide that. I didn't know, and it was good the way that they did it. But yeah, I really, really, really like this one. The next book I read was The Fiery Heart, which is the fourth book of the series. I gave this one like 4.25 stars. Throughout the books are starting to get smuttier and smuttier, but these are very closed door, this whole series. Um, I like Sydney's and Adrian's relationship. It just kept getting stronger. I love how they got burner phones and called them the love phones. And I really liked that. But like, she forgives him way too easily, and he needs to grow up. She is the only one that's like an actual adult, and she doesn't let him grow up, which was a little frustrating in this one. I really thought by here he would start figuring things out, but he just does it. But all in all, this one was really good. And I mean, after Indigo Spell, they all started kind of going downhill for me, but this one was good. And my screen might be moved a little bit because I had to go check on a child. He was crying, so I had to go check on him. But otherwise, my next book was Silver Shadows. This is the fifth book of the series. This one, they're not together about 75% of the book because she is taken by the alchemists because they found out about her and Adrian, and it's him trying to get her back. She's trying to just survive and wait for him to find her because she doesn't know how she's going to get out of there. But I got really frustrated with him because at one time he kind of just gave up and he just started drinking hard. I was like, bruh, grow up. Grow up. I literally was yelling at him this entire series, just grow up. Like, that was what was so frustrating. I gave it 3.5 stars because I was just getting so frustrated with him because he just wasn't getting his shit together. But once he got it together and he found her, I was like, finally. My God, like, it took all that for you to finally get your head out of your ass. It was a little frustrating, but still, it was good. Next book I read is the last of the series, which is The Ruby Circle. I gave this one 3 stars. I really wasn't much of a fan of this one. I don't like really how it ended. There is an unexpected baby, but it's not their baby. But they end up having to take care of it. And Dimitri and Rose are in this book a lot. But they are together the whole book. They're trying to figure out some stuff. But this one was my least favorite. I just wasn't a fan of this one. So once I read this one, I was like, you know what? This whole series is going up on Pango. I really liked this one better than Vampire Academy, but still, I didn't feel the urge to have to keep them. Next is also another reread. I got The Foxglove King by Hannah Whitten. I don't know how to say the last name. This one I gave 3.5 stars. There's pretty much no smut in it. I mean, there's like nothing. They talk about sex, but they never actually have any in this book at all. There's like no smut. I really liked Gabe and Bastian and Laura. I do like them. It's kind of like a love triangle situation. Like, she's attracted to both of them and they're both attracted to her. But she's like, why can't I just have both? Like, I don't understand why I have to pick. Because she doesn't want to pick. She wants to just have both of them. And she goes, I know it's wrong, but like, I don't want to pick. So Bastian is a prince and he's a playa big time. Gabe is a holy roller. I would say. I don't know exactly how to term it. She's technically a necromancer. She can bring back the dead, but she doesn't do it very often. And Gabe can kind of do that. He can manipulate it's so hard to explain. I'm having a hard time explaining it. But the action's good. You know, this one picked up and it was going, and it was good. I did really like this one. Um, I don't know why it's a trilogy, to be honest. I don't know what the third one is really going to be about, because the next one I read was The Hemlock Queen. This one I gave 3 stars. This one is like, most of the book I was like, hey, what are we supposed to be doing? Like, I'm a little lost. Like, I wasn't really grabbing the plot, because I was like, okay, what's going on? I was a little confused. So she's with Bastian, and he's trying to protect her by like trying to like proposing to her in front of everybody, everything. But Gabe's upset because he still really likes Lore and all this stuff. This one, there was like, between the gods, there was smut, and it was very descriptive. And then to like, Lore and Bastian finally get together one time at the very end of the book, and I was like, okay, that's it? Like, really? And it was very descriptive, but I was like, okay. And then she like leaves, and where it left off, I don't know what's gonna happen in the third one. I'm kind of like, oh shit. It comes out in July, but for me to get it in paperback like the other two, I would have to wait 6 months to a year. But it's good. It is a good series. This would also be probably really good for somebody maybe that likes more fantasy and not as much romance, because it is very fantasy heavy, because it talks about the gods, and like the beginning, it just felt like I was learning so much about the gods and not about them as people. So I'm not very character driven in these books. I like them, but I'm not in love with them. Last book I read, which I read it in a day, Wicked White by Michelle A. Valentine, which is the first book of Wicked White trilogy. I didn't know this was a trilogy. I had no idea when I picked it up. I had it in my weekend vlog, because I just had it, and I just thought, oh, it's a standalone, or it's just one book, and I'll just read it, get it off my shelf. No, it's part of a trilogy. I think the other two, I'll just get them on Kindle, because this one I did put up on my Pango. I did really enjoy this book. It's 4 stars, and it's pretty smutty. It's pretty good in that area. But the main guy's name is Ace, and he's a rock star. He's like a singer, and he's getting sick and tired of not being able to sing what he wants, not being able to do what he wants. And right before he goes on stage to an all sold out tour, he gets a call from the hospital saying that his mom had a heart attack and is in the hospital. He wants to go to her, but the friggin', what's it called, the band and the manager are like, no, you have to sing. Like, after this, you can go. And then so he says that, and she's like, the manager, I never said you could do that. And he's like, my mom is in the hospital. Like, I've got to go. So he just leaves. He doesn't even do the concert. He leaves. And then she dies. He goes to the funeral, and then he decides he's going to go on the run pretty much, because he is sick and tired of not being able to do what he wants or sing what he wants. So he runs, and that's how he meets Iris. Iris, her grandma died and left her kind of like a trailer park, and she realized that she hasn't paid back taxes in a very long time, so it's like $20,000, and she's trying to make things work. Well, he ends up renting a trailer from her, and they're immediately attracted to each other, but they try really hard not to be with each other, because he told her, I cannot be in a relationship, especially with you. Like, you'll get stuck, and I'm not doing that. But they're just drawn. So they end up being together. I just didn't, like, the third act conflict made sense in the beginning. And then it just kept getting stretched out and stretched out and stretched out. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of over it. Like, they should have been together a long time ago. She's reaching out to him, but he's ignoring her. It didn't make much sense as to why she was doing that. Why he was doing that. It didn't make much sense. So I kind of got irritated. So that's why it's only 4 star. If they got together after the third act conflict a lot sooner, it would have been a 5 star. But that third act conflict just kept stretching out. Like, it was like over 50 pages. And this is a 244 page, but 50 pages of it was a third act conflict of them not talking to each other. And it's like, why is it this long? Why is this third act conflict like this? I don't get it. But all in all, I do recommend, and I do really want to continue with this series. So that's my reading wrap up. Out of the 13 books, 4 of them were Kindle and 9 were actual physical books. And I think I did pretty well with my reading month. Like, none of them I was like super angry about. Some of them I was like, okay, that's a little disappointing. But I know February is going to be good because I have a lot of series that I'm going to be either catching up on or finishing this month. So I'm really excited. I hope you stick with me and keep coming back to my videos. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. And I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.